Hey everyone, good morning. Happy Sunday. I was thinking this morning about energetic doorways, and it's funny because I'm doing like my morning reading, and the word doorway shows up in my reading, and I'm like, that's so funny. So yeah, I don't like when people give unsolicited advice. Like that is something that I feel like triggers me. And I am like working to find out, not working, but I am inquiring to find out why that triggers me so much. Why is there such an emotional charge of anger, really, essentially, uh, when I sense that people are, in a sense, crossing? I feel like it's crossing my energetic boundary, right? they just they just cross the energetic boundary. They don't look for a doorway. They don't go through a doorway. They just splay on over into your energetic boundary. That's kind of like how I see it. And I think I may know why that triggers such an emotional response for me. Not that I think that being pushy and basically pushing your beliefs and what you're doing on others, um I don't think anyone really truly likes that. And maybe in some people, like it triggers more of an emotional response than in others. Like maybe somebody might not like that, but they might not care that much. I don't know. As where I do, it tends to bother me. So I'm like, I wonder how I could, lessen that emotional energy around that. But anyways, yeah, I just get mad that some people don't seem to look for the doorway. They don't have the doorway because in my opinion, I feel like I trust people enough to not to figure things out for themselves, but also to ask for advice if they want it, or if people are having a conversation and one person is sharing a problem with the other person. I feel like that's a doorway. Um, you know, and you just gotta feel it out. Like if a person is asking for advice, well then that's a clear doorway, to say, hey, maybe you should do this or that, or maybe a person just telling you their situation, but you feel the energy of the doorway that like maybe they just, could use a helpful hint or something helpful advice if you have to share it. Um, but some people don't they don't do that. They don't look for that doorway. They're not sensitive to that for whatever reason. Sometimes I think that people get excited about what they're doing and they want to project that onto you, or they want you to do it too because they feel like it's so good. Um, because this is what actually made me kind of stop doing evangelism, because it didn't really line up with my values and my like core beliefs that people have innate wisdom inside of them. The people can figure out what they feel is best for them, um, intuitively. And if they can't, that they do have the ability to ask around to be able to figure something out that they don't know, like look for help for something they don't know. I feel like we're capable of doing that. So when somebody's pushy with me or they try to give me unsolicited advice or try to make me feel that I need to do what they're doing because it's healthy and because everyone says it's healthy, that upsets me because I interpret that as them saying, you don't have the capability to, I don't know, to see, you don't have the capability to figure out what you need and kind of ask for what you need or something like that. Like, it almost gives off the sense that people think that they know what you need more than you know what you need. And it could come from being raised by someone who with a narcissistic personality, because people with narc personalities do think that they know you better than you know yourself. And that's one of the core like issues with like narcissism and scapegoating, is that you figure that this person who knows you the best and thinks so awful of you is actually a true representation of who you are, because after all, they know you better than you know yourself, right? They know you better than anyone else knows you, and so that their opinion of you is right. You know, other people who might have a good opinion of you, just they don't know you like the narcissistic parent knows you, who thinks you're a selfish bitch, So I think that that's partly where my emotional trigger comes from in regards to people overreaching and going into, passing energetic boundaries and being pushy and insinuating shit. I think it just triggers the past wound or something like that, if you will. But this is just my theory. So anyways, I was saying that I stopped evangelism because I don't feel comfortable necessarily going up to people telling them they need to do something. They need to accept something. They need to be this and this and that. Because how I came into the kingdom of God, how I was born again, wasn't by somebody telling me, hey, you need to do this. And I was like, okay, I'll do that. It's people, we're resistant. I feel like this is a common thing. We're resistant and yeah, we are resistant because you go up to people and tell them they need to get saved and they need to accept Jesus. A lot of them get really pissed off at you because you're trying to tell them what they need to do, and then we justify it by saying, oh, it's the devil that just is clouding their mind or whatever. But it's arrogant, essentially, to go up to somebody and say, you don't know this person from Tom, Dick, and Harry, and you're going up to them telling them what they need to do in their life. And that is very offensive. I understand that. And so I began to realize that I don't like doing evangelism. Now, if I'm in a conversation with somebody and I'm speaking personally with them and they're sharing deep things with me and they want to go there and I could share stuff with them that I know, and that's different, But to be going up to strangers and telling them what they need to do, I don't know. I don't like that. And maybe some people like that, but I just didn't, I felt uncomfortable. And then you're made to think, if you feel uncomfortable or you feel afraid of people's reactions, you're made to think that you're being cowardly or you're not being bold. Oh, the sun. You're not being bold for the kingdom of God, You're not being bold enough. You're being too fearful. So there's a lot of pressure that goes into like evangelism and stuff like that. And so, yeah, none of this kind of aligned with who I was. So, anyways, I gave that up. So I'm like, I don't tell people what to do. I don't tell people what to do. So, yeah, maybe I'm not type A personality enough for that. It was the same with vaccines, though, too. I used to try to tell people and give people helpful websites so they can learn about their rights concerning that shit. And I just kind of stopped after a while because that's another emotionally charged subject when it comes to health and what's healthy and all that. It's kind of like politics. It's very emotionally charged. People don't want you telling them what to do. But I figured, well, if I'm having a conversation with someone, I could, comes up, like I could mention it. But I feel like it's inappropriate to tell other people what to do. Uh, and that's why I like YouTube so much, because people can give advice on YouTube, but they're not forcing anyone or telling anyone directly. You're coming and you're watching the video and resonating or not resonating. And when you don't resonate, you go into another channel. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, freedom. I don't like pushy people. I resist. I resist pushy people. And that probably comes from being raised by someone who has a narcissistic personality, because they are very pushy, very critical. Um, they want you to think like them. And if you don't think like them and do things like them, you're a piece of shit. So I have a really bad taste in my mouth for any, if I sense you're pushy, like at all, you get my wall, you know, my wall's going up. My wall was up. You're trying to come over it. So I'm like, I'll be super dry with you. I, I withdraw. I withdraw. That's how I do. I withdraw. It's kind of like fight, flight, or freeze, right? I just withdraw my energy a bit. Anyways, do you like unsolicited advice? I wonder, does it trigger you? Does it trigger everyone? Comment down below. Have a beautiful Sunday.